This moment matters. It matters to the residents of our city who have been through so much over the last couple of years. It matters to a police department that has been working tirelessly to keep people safe and make the necessary culture shift. This moment matters in a context of history right now. We have taken a number of extraordinary steps to make the change, to be the change that we all want to see. We've set up a new Office of Community Safety. We've provided an integrated and comprehensive approach. We've installed a commissioner in Cedric Alexander to oversee all of these multifaceted entities. And finally, this is a perfect punctuation with a rising star nationally in policing, in reform, and safety in now Chief O'Hara. It takes a whole lot of courage to step up for this particular job. Just raising your hand is in and of itself an act of courage and conviction. I'm really thankful to Brian O'Hara for recognizing the magnitude of this moment, for recognizing the importance of where Minneapolis is, not just in a historic perspective in this city and in this state, but nationwide. We are going to set the example for others to follow. We are going to put forward the best possible measures of safety, the best possible measures of reform. And while you all see the final vote and this press conference, I'll tell you, it took a whole lot of work to get to this particular place. A whole lot of people on my staff, from Michael Vlakovich and Jared Jeffries to Councilmember Latricia Vitaw to our whole search committee that got together to look around the entire country to find the best possible individuals that were ready to pursue a career in change. And what we sent right now was a message. This unanimous vote, this particular choice sends a message to our entire city that we are united in cause, that we're united in action. And this is indeed a mandate to get things done for Brian O'Hara. And so I'm proud of this appointment. I'm proud of the Office of Community Safety that's being set up, and we can't wait to get to work. This is a big day. And so with that, the person who has been providing that integrated approach has been a really key leader in getting all of this set up. I'm going to first pass it off to our Commissioner, Cedric Alexander.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you. And let me say good morning to everyone. I can't find the words really to describe my excitement at this moment. This is exciting. I'm glad that Brian O'Hara got to this point where he is today. He's going to be an exciting and a wonderful addition to the Office of Community Safety, and I cannot wait to get started, because I think what's very important here is that this community surrounded himself. He was like a magnet. He was an individual that went out into community. People gravitated towards him. He gravitated towards them. And I think his sincerity, his humility, his experience, his tenure on the job, and what he brings with him from the state of New Jersey is going to be valuable to us here in Minneapolis. So I think it's without saying, the fact that he got a 13-0 vote, which I was just delighted and wonderfully glad to see, because that does send a very positive and strong message, as the mayor indicated, that we're all going to move together to do what we need to continue to do to lift this community up. So, Chief O'Hara, congratulations. Looking forward to working with you, and the team is looking forward to working with you as well in Office of Community Safety. This is a wonderful moment, a dynamic moment, Mayor. And I think it's something we all are very, very proud of. I know I am, and I can't wait to get started with our new Chief of Police. Thank you.
Chief.
Good morning, everyone. Mayor, thank you so much. Commissioner, I am incredibly honored and humbled to be here at this moment. Since I've come to Minneapolis, I've had a chance to get around and get to know folks in community on the north side, Cedar River side, South Minneapolis, all throughout the city. And I've just been so struck at how welcoming everyone has been and how much love people have shown me of this city. And I've also had a chance to get around to the different police precincts, get out on the street and do some ride-alongs with some police officers here and get to know some of them one-on-one. And between the two, the common bridge I have seen is that everyone is hungry for change in this city, particularly the police officers who have remained in this city, who have persevered, who have endured incredible trauma, hardships. They have not taken the easy way out. They have remained here, remained dedicated to the city, and are looking to be a part of positive change, which is the same as what I've heard from folks in the community. So again, I'm honored and I'm grateful to be here, but I'm not here to maintain the status quo. And I think it's clear from the vote this morning that the governing body has issued me a mandate to bring forth change and to make it real for the people of this city and for the members of this police department. So I look forward to getting to work. I will be proud to say I am a Minneapolis police officer, and I will do everything I can to involve everyone who is interested, who wants to be a part of the positive work that will be going on in this city. And I look forward to getting to work. Thank you.
We'll open up to any questions. I have a feeling they're going to be directed to him, but I'll step forward.
Mayor Frey, when
Please,
will
Liz.
Chief O'Hara be officially sworn in?
Monday.
Monday morning?
I don't have the exact time for you. I'm assuming it's a Monday morning swearing in. We can get that for you, though.
Mayor Frey, I'm so inspired to see the change that's coming with the new police chief in St. Paul, Minneapolis, a new sheriff for Hennepin County. And if you could just lift up how the community policing will be broader than just one city, but for a whole metro, a collaboration potentially.
I'm happy to. You're throwing me a bit of a meatball there, which I appreciate. You know, this is a moment, not just in Minneapolis, but in our region, where we recognize the importance of partnership and collaboration. We also recognize the importance of this work that goes beyond policing. We've set up this Office of Community Safety with the intention to provide the unique skill set to the unique circumstances that are happening on the ground. The reason that we brought in Commissioner Alexander and the reason that we're bringing in Chief O'Hara is that commitment to this comprehensive approach. We already have a number of projects that are already underway, including Project Endeavor, that is seeing some success through that comprehensive method, and that's something that we're going to want to continue under Chief O'Hara's leadership.
Mr. O'Hara, I know that you kind of just spoke to this, but getting a vote of 13-0, that's quite a way to start off your new job.
Yes.
How are you feeling about that?
It's incredible. You know, I couldn't believe it. I'm incredibly humbled. I am honored that, you know, so many members of the council took their responsibility so seriously. Met with all of them individually, met with some in groups. Some of them I've met with several times. And what I can tell you is they certainly did, all of them, their responsibility in this process. But I know now what my responsibility is to them and to the people they represent. And I take that very seriously. And I hope, you know, change takes time. And obviously no one person can bring forth the culture change that people want to see. It's not going to happen overnight. And there's a lot of hard work ahead. There are a lot of serious challenges facing the city and facing this police department. But what I do believe is that a couple years from now, 2 or 3 years from now, we will all be in a different place, and it will be something for the better. I want Minneapolis residents to feel safer in that time. I want Minneapolis residents to have more faith in their police department. I want Minneapolis residents to have had more positive experiences, non-law enforcement experiences with the outstanding police officers of this city, and look forward to rebuilding the ranks of the agency and bringing in more residents into the police department. Those are the goals going forward, and I think those are the overarching themes that have been issued in this mandate from the council.
Where do you start?
The first thing, you know, I feel like I've already started. You know, I have been around, I've taken time day and night to be around the city, to get to know as many of the stakeholders as possible. I know there's still many more to go. I've been in, just this weekend, several houses of worship. You know, went to Juma, Masjid an-Nur. Over the weekend, I was in the Basilica, I was in Our Lady of Victory, Plymouth Congregational Church, several churches, and just being present, getting a chance to know people in community centers, community leaders, and just to listen. That's the priority. And it's equally important to do that in the police department. I look forward to becoming a sworn member of the police department so that I can then get access to law enforcement sensitive information and really get a chance to see how the department is functioning now. Take a look under the hood and see what's going on, and then try and begin to identify the gaps that need to be addressed in terms of where the department is today and where do we want to be in the future.
Mr. O'Meara, I was at one of the meet and greets last night, and people there seemed really, happy with what you were saying, but a lot of people did say, it's easy enough in the beginning before you actually take office to sort of tell people what they want to hear. So I'm curious, what do you see your role as police chief as it relates to the greater power structure, the new way of the setup of the community safety office, and how are you going to ensure that, you kind of follow through on what you were saying also earlier in chambers, which is that you're always going to do what you feel is right?
Absolutely. The role of the police chief is to be the highest ranking sworn member of the department. So how I see that is, it is my responsibility to carry out the mandates that are presented to me, to make it real, to ensure that the police officers are actually implementing policies as intended, and that we are all working towards exemplifying the values that members of the community want to see us. The second part of that question, I'm sorry.
I guess just how do you see your job as it relates to the greater power structure? You have two bosses of
Yep.
when you were newer, you were more in a director role, not in a chief role. How are you going to navigate that?
Well, just as I felt like I answered that earlier. I do believe the role of the chief is to be the highest ranking law enforcement officer. I see it very clearly. Regardless of whatever position we're in Newark, I had bosses, plural, more than one. We all have bosses. To me, that's not something new. It's something I'm comfortable with, and it's simply my responsibility to carry out the mandates that are issued to me in the police department.
Before this interview process, what was your perception of Minnesota? Had you been here before?
Yes. I had been here actually with Mayor Baraka in 2019. We were actually present with some community groups in the city, and we were talking about alternative strategies around policing. That was the first time I was here.
I want to go back, if I could respond to your question, because I think it's a great question. In terms of the structure itself, I report directly to the mayor, and Chief O'Hara will report directly to me. Let me tell you, in terms of his responsibility, I have 5 department heads. He's one of those department heads where he'll be in charge of police. He will have the day-to-day responsibility of carrying out the administrative and executive responsibilities that come with that position. He will have a great deal of power, a great deal of authority. He will make decisions that he feels is best for the organization in which he's about to lead. Part of my responsibility will be there to support him, as I will the other 4 department heads, and to provide whatever support, guidance, if you will, to them, and be supportive of their efforts. So his role is going to be a tremendous one. His role will not be minimized. It will not be marginalized in any kind of position. Everything that comes with it will certainly come up under his purview. And I think we have gotten ourselves a chief here who will have the ability and certainly feel free. And we've had discussions, by the way, already in terms of him feeling that he will have full charge of this city to do the things that he's already indicated to everyone across the city he's going to do. So he will have the supreme power of a chief of police, and he will have the authority to carry out those duties. He is the highest ranking sworn person in that organization, and he and I will meet regularly. He will report directly to me, and I report directly to the mayor, but he will have full reins to set up whatever objectives, goals that he feel are important to move this city forward. And I think that's what we're all looking forward to. So I hope that helps.
Chief, I was wondering, recruitment's a huge topic of conversation when it comes to Minneapolis Police Department. You slightly touched on
Sure. Well, I'm thankful that there already has been, the mayor's advanced a plan, and there is some financial investment, because that's needed to recruit and retain police officers for the city. And I know ultimately what the residents of this city are looking for is they're looking for good policing. They want good police officers. They want a closeness, not necessarily in the sense of geography, but they want a closeness in the sense of caring. They want police officers that actually care for what they need and that will be responsive and respectful and concerned for their safety and well-being. That being said, I do believe it's important that we do everything we can to recruit residents of this city. The people of this city have been through so much, especially over the last 2.5 years, that I think in terms of the culture change that we're looking to cultivate, I think it's very important that we be very intentional about ensuring that we provide opportunities for the people of the city who live here, who have been through a tremendous amount of trauma, who want to be a part of positive change. And to the extent, if there are barriers that make it more difficult for residents to become police officers, that we proactively do things to remove those barriers. Because I think it's very important that we go out there and we look to bring more residents of this city onto the police department.
We have time for 2 more questions.
Chief O'Hara,
Yes, sir.
the opiate epidemic has been raging for 5 years, and North Minneapolis is going through a crisis, as is South Minneapolis. Is there any template that you saw in Newark that you might be able to replicate here in the Twin Cities?
Yeah. So obviously I don't know all of the things that are going on here now already. It is very clear to me, just from patrolling those neighborhoods, that there is a serious opioid problem here. And I think there are programs out there in terms of harm reduction that can be useful. Newark recently, we put together a community-based opioid response with EMS to supplement that. But again, I don't know enough about what is already in place here to properly comment on that.
I think access to you is huge. Are you going to continue those meet and greets and
Of course.
meeting one-on-one with community members?
Yeah, presence is powerful, and the only way that we will be able to rebuild trust is if our police officers are accessible and engaging in meaningful ways with, especially folks who disagree with the police department. So I know that begins with me, and that's something that I definitely intend to continue.
Last question. Thank you so much. Just since it came up, I know it sounds like the police union contract negotiations are coming up pretty soon into your term. How will you balance that, or what are some of your priorities there, especially as you try to raise morale within or among officers that remain? How do you foresee balancing that? And then are there any priorities for that contract that you're looking at already?
Yeah. So obviously I'm not an employee yet, so I'm not aware of, existing negotiations, existing topics, existing issues around the police contract. 2 things, though, that I think are very important. One, if we do want good police in this city, and if we do want police, who represent and personify the very best of the values that the community demands, we have to both ensure that they are compensated appropriately, but then also ensure that there are appropriate accountability mechanisms in place. And I don't know, to the extent that there may be issues that we can change in the contract to do both things at the same time. I think it's important, and I've been, I've been happy to hear that folks from community have been engaged and have their perceptions of that as well, because I do believe that more often than not that the residents of this community support our police officers and will support them in more ways likely than a lot of cops think, and I think that's something that needs to be capitalized on.
Thank you all.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.